afternoon, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. We're doing things a little bit different today. We're doing this in the afternoon. I was not able to make it to our morning time frame, and so I do apologize for that. Today's share should be Le'ilu Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and as well as the Refuah Shalema Bakarov, Mishalem ben Sarah Rachel, and the Refuah Shalema Miriam Bas Sarah. Okay, we are coming on the tail end of our introduction for Shaar Habitachon. And our introduction was talking about the 10 benefits that bitachon brings to a person. And the first 5 we spoke about how they were more of a spiritual benefit, and the second set of 5 were a more worldly benefit. And today we are coming on the tail end on the 5th worldly benefit of bitachon. Umehen simchasai b'chol inyan sheyatek alilav ve'im yeh b'nikenega tivai. That it enables a person to feel happy with any situation to which he is assigned by Hashem. Even that situation is at odds with his nature. And he talks about, for example, if somebody is forced to do work that he doesn't love, he's not really liking what he's doing, but it's bringing him his parnasa, and he's putting food on the table. It says that a person with bitachon understands that that's what he needs to do at this time, and he's fine with that. This happiness stems from his confidence that in every situation, Hashem will do for him only that which is best for him. And that's where the key is to bitachon. The key to bitachon is understanding that every single thing that goes on in your life, good or bad, is there for your good, even if it's seemingly not so. Just as loving mother does for her son by bathing him, swaddling him with a cloth to straighten his newborn limbs, and tightening and loosening the swaddle against his will. He's talking about at a time where, back in the day, there was a custom how a mother would swaddle a child, and because a child, when it's in its mother as it's growing, before it's born, it's kind of squeezed together. And so what they would do is they would straighten out the limbs of the child, the arms and the hands, and kind of tie it together. And it's painful because, the child wants to be, more cuddled and wrapped up. And I think today's days we focus more on that. I'm not sure why it was different back in the day. And so therefore the example over here, this parable, is that the child had pain from the mother straightening its legs and tying it tight. Yet the pain was for a good cause, and the child doesn't realize that. But in the end, that's what it's there for, and that's the parable. The parable is that just like you're going through some pain today, tomorrow, this year, tough times, whatever it is that you're going through, that pain is there for your benefit. David alav hashalom, im lo shivisi v'dermamti nafshi ki gamol alei imoy ki gamol alei nafshi. This attitude of complete trust in Hashem's loving care is in line with what David HaMelech says. May he rest in peace stated, I swear that I stilled and quieted my soul like a nursing infant at his mother's side, like the nursing infant in my soul. David HaMelech, throughout his life, he endured a lot of adversity. But he accepted it with calm because he knew that Hashem had his best interest in mind. David compared his sense of utter reliance on Hashem to that of a nursing infant, and that's where this example comes from. That his reliance on Hashem, and David HaMelech has a lot of that, where he says in Tehillim, most of it we talk about how, we spoke about this a few times, where he's the sheep and Hashem is the shepherd. Thus, this completes the 5th worldly benefit of bitachon, and that is that a person to be happy in any situation. Now, in conclusion, the Rav Av writes, having provided a sampling of the spiritual and material advantages of bitachon, Rav Av closes the introduction for Shaar Habitachon by laying out the structure of Shaar Habitachon and describing the focus of each chapter. Since I have described some of the advantages of having bitachon in Hashem, an example, some of the benefits of bitachon provides in regards to Torah matters, and some of it provides regarding worldly matters. Masha nizdamenli, these being the benefits that occur to me while writing this work. Rav Av says that The benefits listed above are by no means all the advantages of bitachon. They are merely a sampling that comes to mind. The Rav Av said, when I was writing this sefer, these are the ones that came to mind, but obviously there can be so many more. It's just a little tidbit. I will now elaborate on 7 topics within the subject of bitachon and in the 7 chapters of this Shaar. The first of these topics is the definition of bitachon. That is the subject in Perek Aleph. Vasheni besibas habitachon al habruim, and the second one he's going to focus on as we go on throughout Shaar Habitachon is on the criteria for placing trust in human beings, and shows that no human being meets those criteria, only Hashem does. That when you do place your trust in a human being, understand that he doesn't possess the same kind of criteria, the same capabilities. Vashlishi, and you're going to learn also, Beveir Hakedamas Asher Ba'avuran Yischayev Ba'bitachon B'Elekim. The third chapter is focused on clarifying the principles that oblige a person to place his reliance on Hashem. That what makes him that he has to do so. V'chiyav Ho'esek B'Sibos, as well as clarifying the obligation to engage in some means of earning a livelihood, despite the fact that one relies on Hashem to provide for him. That he's going to talk about over there Hishtadlus, and why that's important, and why we must do so. We can't just sit around waiting for a nace. V'haravi, in the 4th chapter, we talk about Beveir Hadvar Masha Bahem Yeh Habitachon, that on clarifying the various areas of which bitachon applies, V'chiyav Shivchai Ugnosei Bahem, and the distinction between appropriate, commendable bitachon and inappropriate, deplorable bitachon in those areas. We're going to talk about someone with bitachon and someone without bitachon. V'chamishi Behefer Sheyesh Bein Esek HaBetech B'Lekim B'Sibos HaTerfa Bein Esek Min HaShe'ena B'Tech B'Lekim Bahem. The 5th chapter focuses on the contrast between the person who has true trust in Hashem and engages in a day-to-day matter based on his trust in Hashem, and is comparing to someone who lacks that bitachon today, and how they behave on everyday matters. V'hashishi, beveir afnei chiyuv genus das ha'omrim ba'arichos ata'avas ba'olam. The 6th chapter is going to discuss various refutations of the attitude of those who say that in order to devote themselves to Hashem's service, they must first amass fortune and guarantee the pleasure in the world to some long term. We're going to talk about over there, we're going to see how you're going to go to someone and say, hey, why aren't you davening and doing mitzvos and learning? He's going to say, I don't have time because I need to put food on the table. And I'm troubled all day with my work. All day and all night I'm troubled with my work. And so he's basically telling Hashem, says, if you give me money, then I will go ahead and start learning. It's kind of asking Hashem for some kind of security deposit. That's what we're going to talk about in the 6th chapter. And then in the 7th chapter that we're going to talk about, Vashvi, the 7th and final chapter is about things that detract from one's ability to attain complete bitachon on Hashem. There's talk about different obstacles in the way that we should look out for. Be mindful of those things. Sometimes when we know to look out for something, it's easier for us. And it concludes everything else that needs to be said on the topic of bitachon with a brief synopsis of the 10 levels of bitachon, which we're going to talk about at the very, very end, the 10 different levels of bitachon. Thank you, everyone, for your patience today. Thank you, everyone, for joining today and every day, and I love you all.